They call her Mama Nicky, which is appropriate since wrestling has always been a family affair for Edgewood assistant coach Nicky Young Andreas. She started helping out when one of her sons joined the team in 2002. Eventually, 3 of her kids ended up wrestling for Edgewood, including 2 of her daughters. So Miss Nicky has been part of the Rams wrestling program for over a decade, but she's been around the sport itself much longer than that.
I've been involved in wrestling now for 40 years. I was a manager at my own high school in New York. My husband wrestled, so I've been around it since then.
Did you ever wrestle?
No. No, when I was in high school, I only weighed like 80 pounds, so there was no weight class for me. I was a gymnast.
So you learned about it through your husband?
Yes. Yeah, my husband's team used the same mats that we did for gymnastics. And back then it was crazy. The guys would just spit on the mats and stuff. Yeah, it was always fun.
Despite the questionable hygiene, that turned out to be the beginning of a lifelong commitment to wrestling, even as she and her husband both joined the military and traveled all over the world.
We went to Germany, we went to Panama, we went to down to Fort Polk, Fort Benning. We've been all over the place. But in every place that we went to, there was wrestling. And so he either coached or he did freestyle or something, and I was always involved in it. And then when the kids started getting into high school, it was just the normal, be involved in their sports.
The Uckback bracket master for many years, she does feel more comfortable on the administrative side of things, but she doesn't hesitate to coach them up.
I do technique. I do correct technique, and if show them how a proper headlock is or or a proper bar, that. But yeah, I just holler most of the time. I'm serious. The male coaches are on the same wavelength as the wrestlers, so when they're yelling something at them, they just goes over their head. I yell at them, and they look up and they're like, "Oh, okay, Mama Nicky said to try this," So it's always fun when they look up at me, and I'm like, "Watch the back."
Over the years, Miss Nicky has earned the respect of coaches throughout the metro area. Some even say she's like the glue that holds the Edgewood team together.
I just want to see the program flourish. I mean, we're moving towards having a feeder program now, which we haven't had in probably 8 years. It also doesn't help that Edgewood has had 6 coaches in the 13 years that I've been here.
So while other coaches have come and gone, Ms. Nicky has stayed through all the ups and downs. And one of the high points came last year when sophomore Eric Nixon won Edgewood's first Uckback title in over 10 years. The Rams' last county champ before Nixon was current assistant coach Eric Lindblad in 2004. Besides Nixon, another standout for Edgewood this year is actually making his wrestling debut.
My heavyweight, Will Jefferson. He's a senior, but this is his first year wrestling, so he's doing an outstanding job. And I keep thinking, God, if I had him when he was a freshman, he'd rival Moxie or one of the other kids from Harvard Tech or Bel Air.
As the Edgewood feeder program grows, more freshmen might start wrestling for the Rams, and that means more kids for Mama Nicky.